painted in pure white chalk paint. We've done 2 coats. In some parts we needed 3, which is very common with pure white, so just keep that in mind when you're working with it. You might need more coverage. We were painting onto a very dark table, and we mostly wanted it solid. There's some places you can still see a little bit of the tone from underneath, which is okay for the look that we're going for. So now we're going to do a wash with Paris Grey over top of the pure white, just to create a bit of a grayed effect, which will help feed into that Gustavian sort of style. So to do a wash of the second color, you'll want your second color and a little bit of water, just in a little cup is fine, and some sort of rags or shop towels or something like that. Anything will work for this, even t-shirt material will work as well, so whatever you have on hand. So I'm just going to start by getting some of the Paris Grey on my brush, and then I'm going to dip into the water so that it's a nice, it's going to be a little bit wet. And then I'm going to start, you don't want it too wet, you don't want it really, really drippy. Then I'm going to start going in to my piece with the Paris Grey, really concentrating on getting it down into the details. And I'm just going to put it everywhere. And then I'm going to give it a wipe. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's going on quite, it's quite wet. So I can see the Paris Grey is a little bit, I can see right through the Paris Grey to the white, which is good. It's what I wanted. So then I'm just going to start wiping. So when I'm wiping, most of the gray is coming off, but it's staying in some spots, particularly down in those, the grooves, the beautiful details of this piece. You can see there a nice little half and half of the piece, of the different colors, with the white and then the gray. So I want to take a little bit more of that gray off. It's a little bit darker than I want in some areas, especially on this front here, because I wanted to keep that a little bit more crisp white. So that's when I get my rag a little bit wet, and I just start wiping more of that gray off. So hopefully you can see that it's getting some of that white back. Still got a bit of a gray tone, but I'm able to take it off. The other neat thing that's happening while I'm doing this is that a little bit of the paint is distressing and giving that dark, making that dark wood show up underneath. And what's neat about it is that it's not showing up as brown, it's actually looking quite black, which is perfect for this look where I'm trying to keep it crisp grays and whites. And so that's actually going to be a really nice effect. So we call this the wet distress because I'm using wet to both pull off some of my gray that I have on there, but also to distress some of that paint so that I sort of have a little bit of a distressing effect of the wood coming out. So you can push a little bit harder to get that effect. So hopefully you're seeing that along there. So I'm just going to continue in some places, sort of pulling off some of the gray where I want it. The really nice thing about doing this technique is that you can, if you felt, okay, you know, I liked it a little bit better with a little bit more of the color, you can just go back over it again and then wipe it again. The only thing you don't want to do is you don't want to get your rag too soaking wet and rub too hard, because you'll just take off all the coats of paint really. So don't push too hard when it's too wet. But you can, you know, you can give it a little bit of pressure. Make sure too that before you do a wash like this that you have a nice strong base coat, because then it'll prevent you from going all the way through. So I'm just going to move to the other side there and keep going with this wash and the wet distress.